Laker fans, stand up. You finally have a podcast that represents you. Make sure you check out Lakers Reign podcast with yours truly, Nick Hamilton. Every week, we have the latest news on the purple and gold and what's going down on the court.
This is Popping the Bubbl with hosts Sandra Ponce de Leon and Pete A. Turner.
Hi, I'm Beena Ammanath. I'm the founder and CEO of Humans for AI, and you are listening to Popping the Bubbl.
Hey, Beena. Thank you so much for joining us. It's so great to have you. Yeah, we were introduced through a couple of people that are gurus in the AI space, and I was just so fascinated by your mission and, actually just taking a look at your resume. You're so accomplished. You're a member of Mensa. You're a VP at a Fortune 500 company in innovation, and you also hold 2 patents, which is so amazing. So it's really great to have you. You're such an inspiration to other women in technology. So thank you again so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sandra.
I would love to just hear a little bit about your journey in technology and, what led you to where you are today.
I studied my undergrad and postgrad in computer science, and I did an MBA in finance. And I've always been in the technology career. I grew through the ranks, literally, with the underpinning being always about data. And I've played different roles, right, from being a database developer to a DBA, a SQL developer to a data analyst, and then I managed a team of data people, and then it's always been about data, and I've just seen how the space around data has evolved, having been in here for more than 25 years now. Like a few decades ago, it was all about transactional or OLTP databases and simple reports, right? It was more to keep the systems up and running. Then it came the age of data warehouses and business intelligence reports. And today, it's all about big data and analytics and data science, and now we are entering into the age of AI. At the end of it, the backbone has always been data. It's now as, this journey is evolving, and you're seeing how we look at data in different ways and use it in different actions to drive positive business outcomes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is just such an amazing amount of data now, and it's impacting so many different industries, especially with regards to AI. I know you recently wrote an article about the different types of AI and kind of where we are on the spectrum. So I'd love to just kind of hear your thoughts on the evolution of AI and what's coming for us.
Yes, absolutely. No, I actually in the early 90s when I was doing my postgrad, AI was offered as an elective course, and nobody wanted to join it because it was considered this very mysterious, mythical, futuristic topic with no connection to reality, right? And a lot of things we had just imagined about or thought about at that time is now becoming a reality, whether you're looking at self-driving cars or mall robots and so on. It's happening in our lifetime. So I think, but realistically, AI is still in its infancy today. The huge, massive compute power, the processing power that we have today, along with the ability to capture and look at data, has enabled AI, but it's still in its very early stages. If you look at the different types of AI, there is what we call as narrow intelligence, when AI is able to solve a specific problem, like win at a chess game. And then there is the artificial general intelligence, which is able to do anything that any human being can do. And that AI is smarter than any human in the world. And we are nowhere near that. And I don't see that happening anytime soon because we are still trying to solve the narrow intelligence problem, very specific problems. So I think, we have an opportunity here in front of us to shape AI whichever way we want, because I see as very early on in the curve.
Even though we're really early on in the curve, Beena, we're still having, and I'm reading your article on LinkedIn, we're still having lawyers as, robot lawyers. And I'm not talking about the city having a camera and sending you a bill.
Yeah.
I'm talking about defense lawyers. We're early on and we are already overturning parking tickets and divorces.
Yeah.
That's incredible. What the heck what are all the lawyers going to do? How do we figure out how to become project managers or product managers or whatever it's going to be? I mean, it's such when you realize that lawyers and doctors are threatened, what do we do?
Yeah, so Beena, it sounds like we are really early on and still in the infancy of AI, but it's still affecting a lot of different industries, such as the legal profession is already using AI for things like defense. It's going to impact every industry. What are the things that we need to be thinking of as domain experts in whatever field we're in with regards to how AI is going to impact us?
That's right. That's a great question, Sandra. I think that's the right question we should be asking. How should we be thinking about the impact that AI is going to drive, and how do we actually shape it in a way that it doesn't really go rogue or do evil things, right? There's so much fear around AI taking over all our jobs. I think to a large extent, if you look at the world history and how we have evolved over time, right, there has always been changes in how work is done, right? Whether you look at the first industrial revolution to the rise of the internet, people have always worried that advancing technology would destroy their jobs. And right. It does do it, but it's more of an evolution, right? It's new jobs replacing old ones, right? But with AI, there is a unique threat because AI is actually trying to compete with humans because we are making it smart. But the way we want to look at it is, how do we address this complex relationship between technology and work? Will AI create enough jobs to replace those that destroy them, and will it create them fast enough? And for the workers whose skills are no longer needed, how will they keep up? How are we educating our current generation with the skill sets that they will need for the work of tomorrow? I think there is, take the example of legal or the law field, right? Document searches, which used to take several weeks or months for a paralegal to do, is now done by AI software. Because that's what AI is good at, at this point, while it's still in its infancy, it's really about automating the routine jobs that humans have done. And I think that's actually a good thing because it's going to enable us to do the things we actually love. But there's also still a long way to go. And what we need to do today is to think about how do we reskill the workforce of today to be able to work with machines in the future. How do we actually change our education system? How do we train the existing workforce so that they can work with the machines better? The only thing that I'll add is, in terms of the fear that we have about AI, if you look at the history and, time and again, it has been proved that automation and newer technology helps overall standards of the cost of living actually the standard of living actually improves, the literacy rates improve, the lifespan has lengthened, crime rates fall. If you look at history, it's always been true. So if we do AI right, I think it will be very, very powerful and positive for humans.
Yeah, there's so much of a stigma around the dangers of AI, and especially when you're talking about AI becoming smarter than humans, it actually already is. And every profession from the legal field to the medical field is going to be impacted. And I'd love to hear more about your initiative with Humans for AI and how you see the role of diversity being a big part of that.
Yes. So in simple words, Humans for AI is really about how can we fix the diversity problem in tech by leveraging AI. I've seen the waves that came along with the internet and mobile technology. It started in the computer science world, but it impacted everybody, right? Everybody uses the internet. Everybody uses mobile. It all started in the computer science world. And I think the same thing is going to happen with AI. It's originating in the computer science world, and it's being shaped by computer scientists, but it's going to impact everybody. No matter what your job is today, it's going to look slightly different or significantly different depending on the actual job itself. But AI is going to influence your job. So, and we also know that this, in the future, there will be a skill set needed where for AI's own growth, where it's the domain experts who are driving the future AI products. We will need lawyers, farmers, psychologists, nurses who understand AI and can actually shape the AI products for their profession. So if we don't do anything, it's still going to happen. There will be a workforce with the skill set that will evolve because technology is going to demand it. But what I want to do is actually knowing that we will need this new skill set in the future, can we actively pull in women and minorities, pull in more diversity into being the people who bridge this gap between AI and their domain. So can we pull in the women lawyers, the women nurses, the women psychologists, and teach them about AI concepts? Because at the end of the day, only a lawyer can tell which part of a job can be automated if she understands enough about.
Hey, this is Pete A. Turner.
And this is Sandra Ponce-de-Leon from Popping the Bubbl.
We love making this show for you and giving these incredible interviews.
Absolutely. We meet the greatest people. We'd love for your support by going to iTunes and subscribing and maybe even leaving us a 5-star review.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's how I want to solve the diversity problem. And I don't see the lawyers and nurses actually sitting and programming the AI programs or writing the software, but they would be the future product managers, the designers. They would be the ones driving the requirements and roadmaps for their domain. Meaning, it would be a lawyer who is the product manager and product designer and who drives the product requirements for a legal product which uses AI. And it's important for AI's own growth too, right? Because you need an expert, the domain expert actually building the AI product for their domain, because only that person can actually put in all the checks and balances in place so that the program doesn't go rogue as we are transferring human intelligence into this program, right?
Recently, I've been going to some AI panels, and there's a lot of conversation around, your AI is only as good as the people programming it. And you've got instances of AI that is actually exhibiting racial biases in its system. Google's unfortunately had some really bad scenarios like that. So I love the fact that you're actually bringing in the domain experts ahead of time to, have their impact in the AI and really should be able to shape it before, to your point, it goes rogue, or, if it's programmed by people that aren't part of that particular domain expertise, how will it really serve the needs of the industry?
Yes, exactly. And, and we are also, by demystifying and humanizing AI, by teaching people more about AI, we are empowering them how AI impacts their jobs, right? Right now, people feel powerless. They feel they don't have any control. There is so much mystery and there's so much hype around it. I think it's very important for us to actually make it easier for people to understand, because at the end of the day, what we're describing is how intelligence works. Whether you look at natural language processing or sentiment analysis, it's really about how intelligence works. So it shouldn't be that complex as it appears to be. It should be conceptually, it should be easy for anybody to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. And Humans for AI is specifically doing that. Tell us a little bit about how you intend to do that with Humans for AI.
Yeah, so Humans for AI it's a newly formed nonprofit organization. In fact, we just got our tax exempt status, so very exciting. We have
Congratulations.
thank you. We have over 50
Yeah.
volunteers across businesses, verticals. We have a few lawyers, we have nurses, we also have a lot of computer scientists. And we try what we, there are two parts to it. One part is really focused on demystifying and humanizing AI and making it easy for people to understand and build a community, right, of the AI experts and the non-AI experts so that we can have this open conversation about AI's impact on people's jobs, their futures, and their purpose. We really want to address those fears, but we also want to make people aware of those opportunities. We're going to target women and minorities specifically because I think if we don't do it, that workforce, as I said, will still evolve. But if we can bring in the women and minorities to be part of this community, so we will be actively targeting those groups and focusing on educating them about AI. And when companies start looking for the skill set where you need a lawyer who understands AI, we will have it from this community.
Yeah, I love this concept of upping the workforce, their skill set. And we've talked a lot previously with other companies that are focused on innovation. The innovation is so fast, the pace is so fast, and the array of things is so wide, it's so overwhelming. So how do we get people to reject the specter of AI and start to take some kind of action? So how do we create a safe, accessible message?
Yeah, I think one of the things we're doing under Humans for AI is to be reaching out to different women's networks, minority networks, and groups. We are just in the we have a website, but we are in the process of revamping it to make it more open and welcome, where this community can build itself. We also want to start also addressing by verticals, really go deep into how will AI impact the nursing field, how will AI impact the accounting field, and then have the accountants of today start thinking about what kind of AI products would be needed for an accountant of the future. Because at the end, the philosophy that I think the most about that works for an AI concept is smarter machines should make for smarter people, right? Sandra, if you look at it, we are already cyborgs today. We are so dependent on our phones, right? Do we even remember any phone numbers? Do we remember any phone numbers? Do we, I remember 15 years ago, we had to look up on maps to figure out how to get from point A to point B. Today, we just look at our phone. We rely. So, these phones have become an extension of us. And it's all driven by AI. We just don't know it, but it's made us smarter, right? It keeps us our brain power free.
In some situations.
Rather than memorizing phone numbers and maybe directions, we look at retaining other information which helps make our life better. The other thing is, you also want to think about that AI is going to invent work we can't even dream of today. And we just have to look at history to realize that this has happened in the past. If you look at, the revolution that in the internet and mobile technologies did, and that wasn't long ago either, right? Look at the internet. It has given birth to unforeseen careers. Like, can you name anybody's, and I would say grandmother, 2 generations away, who was a search engine optimization specialist, or a web developer, or a mobile developer, Android developer. Those job titles didn't exist 30 years ago, and today they're one of the most.
What do you think some of those new jobs are going to be with AI? What are your predictions for some of those new job titles?
I'm actually, with Humans for AI, I'm betting on AI lawyer product manager, AI accounting product manager. So I am betting on the fact that you will need these experts building not building, but designing the products of the future. It will not be the people who are from computer science. So that's something that I think will be newer. We will see work that is routine and boring being done more and more by machines. And at the end of the day, I don't think it's a bad thing. Like today, most people, when they're trying to choose their career, they choose it, with thought of what are they good at and what pays the most. With little many people don't have the luxury of doing what they love.
Right.
Now, I think with applied AI, that's going to drive a lot of this automation. It can actually help a lot of individuals follow their entrepreneurial dreams, right? Doing what they love. So the ability for many people to do the work that they love without having to be experts in every aspect of business, because AI will take care of the boring parts of the business, right? It could fuel a whole new revolution, an innovation revolution, where it's an economy made up of billions of individuals who are just doing what they love. And AI is doing the mundane, the boring part. So I'm an optimist, as you can say. But that's what I say. We need to take, charge, and we need to shape the AI at least in the domains that we are good at.
Yeah. So your vision for the future is, one, do you see us all becoming artists and pursuing our creative passions and, being more involved in the arts? How do you see that taking shape?
As AI starts taking over some of the mundane jobs, I think there would be more time available for humans to do what they really love. And there's already a lot of talk going on about the universal basic income, right? If you don't have to worry about your basic income, then that gives you more leeway. If you are looking at starting a new business, and I'm going through it right now with setting up the nonprofit, there's a lot of work that needs to be done from an accounting perspective, from filing paperwork, from auditing perspective.
Right. How nice to have AI do that, yeah.
Yes. Since we as humans are the ones developing AI, let's develop AI in a way to actually augment and work with us. Let's not build AI that is not going to work with us. Let's build AI in a way that will make us all better and smarter.
Yes. We have to be proactive about it. We have a question coming in from Pete, who unfortunately was having some technical issues, but he's been back channeling me with Skype. So he's curious about whether we will still see shows on about legal dramas, given that maybe lawyers will be mostly done, or most of the lawyering in maybe 30 years will be done by robots. What do you think about that? Are you a fan of legal dramas?
Yeah. I don't think robots are going to completely replace lawyers, because it's lawyers' job not just to do the investigative, the paperwork, but they do bring in that human factor. I'm not talking just about the empathy, because when you are going through a situation like that where you have to work with a lawyer, you need a lot of empathy, and which only human can bring. But there's lawyers, the human lawyers are also able to look at beyond the data and drive conclusions in a way that I don't see the robots of today doing. They can definitely crunch through a lot of data, but there is much more to a lawyer's job than just crunching through data. So Peter, what I think will happen is you might see robots standing alongside next to the lawyer, where the lawyer is just telling the robot, saying that, find this data for me from 120 years ago. And it will be able to find it within seconds, but it's a human who is going to actually be analyzing it and coming to, driving the case forward. So yeah, you
it'll
might
be like
see robots
Star
being
Trek meets,
introduced.
yes. Legal drama, TV show. That's funny. The sidekick robot. Lastly, I wanted to ask you, what do you feel like success will look like for Humans for AI in 2 years, and what's on your plate to make that happen?
Humans for AI is really, candidly speaking, we are trying to attract a demographic of people who have not really chosen computer science or tech as their profession. How do I get lawyers and nurses and psychologists and accountants even to the table so that we can talk about AI? For me, the goal is very much to get these professionals interested in AI. And for us, we are working right now on putting out a lot of blog posts which demystify AI. Our team of volunteers is really working hard to make it very easy to understand, and we are looking for feedback from my demographic of women and minorities who are in other professions to actually start interacting with us and learn more about AI. What does success look like when I can have this robust community of nurses and lawyers and psychologists actually who understand AI and say, oh, this is how I would apply AI to my job, and this is what we should be building. And then we can actually have companies who go and build these products, which is actually coming as requirements from the people who do these jobs on a day-to-day basis. It empowers them, and it also builds us more valuable products, which in a way that augments what humans need.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, definitely going to do our part to share this as widely and as far as we can. And I'm actually involved in quite a few communities of color with Latinas in tech specifically. Definitely would love to continue the conversation and start to spread awareness and education to all those different communities. I know Pete's a big fan. He's been expressing how great you are and how much he believes in the work that you're doing. So thank you so much, Beena. Is there anything else that you'd like to leave us on, or things that you're looking for that we can help bring to the table for you?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast, firstly. And then, we will thank you for, helping us spread the word. We
Absolutely.
need all the help we can get as we start building out this community of AI experts and the AI curious or the AI scared, AI fearful minds, to really start empowering ourselves and shape and build out AI that helps humans reach new heights of success. So, we are actively looking for volunteers. So if you are even remotely curious about AI, I would ask your audience to reach out to us. Our website is humansforai.com. Thank you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Beena. It's been such a great conversation. So amazing what you're doing for the community. So shout out to different professions that want to get involved and are curious about AI. And we'll definitely be linking back to Humans for AI and all of the links that you need us to. So thanks again.